Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle Saga and I am the crafty chick behind Shell's Beads. Today's video is part of our handmade holiday series, and in it we will be delving into the world of jewelry making. To do this, I will be using beautiful enamel components from the amazing Michelle Lusk of Caliente Art Glass. Michelle has been a glass and enamel artist for almost 30 years, and not only is she super talented, but I'm also proud to call her my friend. These are the earrings that we will be making in today's video, and as you can see, they are super cute and fun and flirty. I know you're gonna have a lot of fun putting these skills to work, and to get you started, Michelle has graciously extended a 15% discount through her website for all of our viewers. So thank you so much, Michelle, for that. I will have all of her information listed and linked in the description box below. So if you guys are ready to get started on this project, let's go. All of the items for this project will be listed and linked in the description box below. These are a pair of finished earrings that I have been wearing for spooky season, but as you can see, they came with those adorable components. So to get started, we are going to need a few tools. We are going to need a pair of round nose pliers. This means that the jaw of the pliers is actually rounded on both sides. We will use those to make our loops. These are chain nose or flat nose pliers. Those will be used as grips and to help us bend the wire. This is a pair of crimping pliers, and normally this would be for beading, but I use it to help tuck my wire ends in. Lastly, a pair of flush cutters, and these will clip our wires, and an extra pair of chain nose pliers that I use to just help hold my components. These are the components we will be working with. These are the beautiful enamel charms from Michelle Lusk, and I can't say enough about how amazing they are to design with. They're super easy because they already have all of the interest and color that you could possibly need. For the hearts, I will also be adding 2 of my pebble lampwork beads that I make here in my glass studio. And you're gonna need a selection of spacer beads for your hearts because we will be using those to wire wrap. You're gonna need some earring findings. And then for my robin pair, I just chose a very simple gold connector because it really didn't need anything else. You're gonna need a pair of matching ear wires and a set of jump rings. After we have all of our components together, we are going to start on the robin pair. This is a very, very basic skill set, and basically we're going to learn how to open and close jump rings and use them as the connectors to our pieces. A good thing to do is to create a layout before you begin, just so you know where you want everything to hang. This also helps you decide whether or not you may need an extra jump ring at the top so that your earrings orient correctly. Once we have our layout done, we are going to open our jump ring. Now, these are kind of fragile, so you don't want to pull them apart. Rather, you want to move your hands opposite each other in a rocking motion to open up that ring. Once it's open far enough, we are going to take our enamel component and thread it onto the jump ring. After that, we are going to add our ring component, and it doesn't matter what side it's on since this ring is a neutral component. If you had something else with another design, you would just want to make sure that it was orienting properly. Now we're going to close this jump ring by moving our pliers opposite each other and rocking back and forth. When it gets close enough, you will feel a little click, and that's how you know the loop is closed enough. Now that we have this, the only thing left to do for this pair is to add our fishhook ear wires. We're going to thread it on kind of like a needle thread going through a needle, and we're going to pull it through and let it rest down in that groove. From there, we need to close that space just a little bit by taking our chain nose pliers and pressing that ball against the other side of the earring. This creates a secure space so that our components don't fall off. Now we're going to move on to constructing the second earring. And we're just going to do it the same way as the first. We are going to use our pliers to open our jump ring, slide our components on, and close the jump ring by rocking our pliers back and forth. Like I said before, you're going to feel almost a little click when those ends meet, and it happens almost like magic because you don't realize that the motion that you're doing is actually pushing those two pieces together. You'll see that really clearly here in this example, and once you feel that metal hitting metal, you know that it's closed and secure. We're going to add that fish hook just like we did in the first one, and once we have done with that, our pair of earrings is complete. Your pair of earrings is now complete. As you see, it was super simple to create that beautiful look. Moving on to our leopard print hearts, we are going to need one additional supply for this, and that is our wire. I'm using Artistic Jewelry wire. It is a tarnish-free, nickel-free silver plate wire in 22 gauge. This is a really nice soft wire to work with for wire wrapping and works great for making these small connector pieces. We're going to need 9 inches per earring. So what I do here is use my grid mat. Each one of those squares is 1 inch. So I am measuring out 9 squares worth of a piece of silver. I'm going to take my flush cutters and I am going to nip my wire. I am using the flush side towards the piece that I will be using, but I will show you an easier way to do it, a little bit quicker when you cut your second wire. I'm going to hold that wire up to my spool and use that as my template to cut my next piece. Once I have those pieces cut, I will line up the edges and I will make a single flush cut over both pieces of wire. You'll see me do that here in this clip, and that just ensures that both pieces of my wire are even and smooth. If you were to use the other side of the flush cutter, you would get almost like an arrow point, which can be sharp and uncomfortable. Now that we have our 2 pieces of wire, we are going to get started with the wrapping process. For this, you're going to need your round nose pliers, and we start off with about 2 inches of wire. So hold it up to your gridded squares and measure out 2 squares worth of wire. Where your thumbnail is, go ahead and grip that piece of wire with the tip of your round nose pliers and make a 90-degree bend away from you. You'll see that more clearly in the video, and I just check to make sure I'm at my 90-degree bend. Then I turn the pliers, and going about midway up, I take that wire and loop it over the top of the pliers. I'm going to pull that out, shift to the bottom jaw, and then wrap behind that loop. And as you can see here, make sure it's still orienting at a 90-degree angle. And once it is, come in and create 3 wraps of wire around that base wire. This is going to create a closed loop that does not have any way to open. I like to use this when I'm adding dangle components because I know they're going to be super secure. Once we have those wraps done, you're going to take your flush cutters and cut as close to that wire without cutting through your other wraps. This is where my crimp pliers come in handy. I am going to come in and I am now going to pinch down at that place where we cut the wire using that little groove in the top of the pliers. What this does is kind of tuck that end in and make sure that it's not scratching or visible to anybody. You wouldn't want any of these pieces to snag on anything. Once we have that completed, we're ready to string on our beads. The hole of my bead is 1.8 millimeters, and that's a little big for this type of connector. So I want to make sure to add some spacer beads to this so that I don't risk it going all the way down to that loop. For this, I just had a few pieces of Hill Tribe silver in my jeweler's box, and I just chose a couple of interesting pieces to accent this bead. String them on in whatever fashion you would like to have them in. I do have a bead cap, which I like to use as my top piece, so that will end up being the part that sits closest to the ear wire. To finish this off, we're going to take our chain nose pliers and we are going to hold it right against the base of that top bead cap. We want to make sure that those beads are nice and secure and there's not much movement. Now we're going to bend at a 90-degree angle, and holding it all in place, we're going to switch to our round nose pliers, and keeping it at about that halfway mark, we're going to bend towards us like we did for the bottom loop. But now we're going to change just a little bit. When we go to make that loop, you can see that it's a little off center. you're going to want to bend it back to a 90-degree angle. This is super important if you want your piece to hang straight. Now we are going to come and make 3 wraps. And you see the bead cap's a little loose, but as we add these wraps, it will tighten that bead cap back down. I apologize for being out of frame here, guys. When you're doing wire wrapping, your hands are going to be all over the place. From here, you're going to flush cut that end off. When you have other components next to the beads, sometimes you have to work in sections, and I had to nip off several little bits at a time in order to get where I wanted it to be. Come in with your crimping pliers and just kind of close that off so it's all nice and rounded up. Here's your first connector piece that we will be attaching to our heart. You're going to want to go ahead and complete the same thing with the remaining piece of wire and your remaining beaded components. I was going to speed this part of the video up, but I will go ahead and leave it in real time and add some music to it just so you guys can see the process again. Now that we have both components finished, we are ready to assemble our earrings. To do that, we are going to need some jump rings to connect our connectors to our hearts. For this, I chose side cut jump rings, which are a little bit different because the cut is on the side. These are slightly oval shaped to allow it to hang right. I decided to use this because, as you can see, the hearts are offset, by a top drilled hole into only one of the puffs of the heart. Open your jump ring the same way that we have done with the previous ones, and I had to widen that a little bit. Get it through your heart and then pick up one of your components. Make sure you're stringing it with the bottom part so that your top bead cap will sit by your ear wire. Once I have that secure, I picked up my chain nose pliers and we closed this. You are going to use that same rocking motion to close this back and forth. When you feel that click of the metal and you know it's secure, you're ready to attach your ear wire. As you can see, this created a beautiful accent and allowed the heart to hang down at that kind of catty-cornered angle. Our handmade loops are much bigger than those previous ones from the gold connectors, so we were able to slide that right through. And we will close that connector the same way by pressing it between the jaws of the larger chain nose pliers. And that's it, guys. This is done. We are going to assemble the second heart earring, and then I will show you all 3 finished pairs of earrings. That's it. Your earrings are absolutely done. I hope you enjoyed delving into the world of jewelry making and learning a couple of skills to help you put together some beautiful creations like the ones I've shown you in this video. If you're interested in getting these glass enamel components, make sure to hit up Michelle's website at calienteartglass.com. And don't forget that we do have a 15% off discount code for her, and all of her information will be listed and linked in the description box below. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this tutorial. I hope that I was able to show you something new or at least inspire you to get started in your own jewelry making journey. I hope you have a blast creating these earrings. Make sure to tag both myself and Michelle Lusk on social media. I will have both of our social medias listed and linked in the description box below. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up. Hit that bell button so you never miss a minute of the fun. And if you like the kind of stuff I put out there, please subscribe to my channel. It really, really helps me to continue to bring you guys all of this wonderful creative content. Thank you, as always, to all of my supporters from the bottom of my heart. It truly means the world to me. If you'd like to watch one of my latest videos, go ahead and click here, and don't forget, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, guys, stay creative.